Hello and welcome to the Philippines. Come along with me if you have the time. I'm going to try to cover a number of issues. I'll talk about travel. I'll talk about a little bit about cost of living. I will talk a little bit about what it's like living in the Philippines and over the past 18, 19 months plus before that, and some thoughts about going forward as well. Anyway, this particular day I was walking from the downtown area. I had stopped down at Allen's photo and camera shop, downtown Cebu City, to pick up my 6D Canon camera. It had not been working properly, and in fact, it would not take a picture. So they were able to fix it. They diagnosed it very quickly while I was there the first time. Cost me 6,000 pesos, and they get a number of other expats have used them. I've used them before on another camera, and highly recommend them. They're downtown. There's a Unitop store, which is kind of like it's hard to describe. It's kind of like a discount store, a Walmart in the Philippines. It's one of the, they import a lot of stuff from around the world. Lots of stores in the Philippines, and anyway, it's across the street and a little bit down the street from there if you ever need to get a camera repaired. And they also have lenses and cameras for sale, used usually, I think. So I am walking from that downtown area, and I'm walking up towards eventually to SM Mall. The buildings right ahead of there, the taller buildings, are Robinson's Land, Galleria Residences, condominiums, I think 3 or 4 towers. I've done 1 or 2 videos in there. And for those of you who don't know, I've been doing videos since 2015, 3 trips to the Philippines, spent a lot of my time in Cebu City, got over 1,000 videos up. The real estate agents in the mall start grabbing me and saying, come and look at my condominium. And so I always carry a camera with me, and I started taking videos of condominiums, of subdivisions, and putting them up, never realizing how much interest there would be in them. I should say I planned it that way, but in reality I was a bit surprised, and but found that I know when I first moved here, I asked people, what part of town should I live in? Give me some ideas. Foreigners that I met, as well as Filipinos, and they never had an answer. They never had an answer of what part of town would be give me an idea of the different parts of town. They never gave me any ideas of the costs and those types of things. Although I had investigated some of those things online before coming here, and had set some budget budget levels in my mind. So anyway, I've got a ton of videos of condominiums, some subdivisions, not just in Cebu City, over on Lapu-Lapu, Mactan Island, some in over on Bohol, a little bit on in Iloilo, Bacolod, and I have cost of living videos. I've got just travel videos, just a number of different things. It is November 2021, Thanksgiving coming up, which is a holiday in the USA. There are a few restaurants, 2 or 3 or 4 restaurants in Cebu City area that put on a turkey and ham, the Thanksgiving, cranberry sauces, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes and gravy, all that sort of thing. Dressing, what they call dressing. Which is usually a combination. Many different people make it different ways, using bread and spices, and I think it gets stuffed into the turkey when it cooks, and that's why they call it stuffing, I think. I've got some construction going on. I live in a condominium. I've lived in 5 different condominiums here in the Philippines in 6 years, and I've got some construction going on right below me. So if you hear some grinding, I'll try to stop if I hear it, but if you hear some grinding or pounding in the background, that's what it is. Sometimes it gets unbearably loud. but as long as I can tolerate it, I will continue on here. Anyway, not a lot of sidewalks here. Different parts of the city have good sidewalks. Many parts of the city don't have very good sidewalks, not maintained very well. So you walk in the street, and the traffic tolerates that, and it's a tolerating culture overall. The traffic, they do things here that in many countries, I know in the USA, many parts of the USA, there would be fist fights on every street because of some of the ways that they drive and cut other drivers off, and just crazy. Making left turns from the right-hand lane and right-hand turns from the left-hand lane, and just driving against traffic. You wouldn't believe it till you see it. But anyway, it all seems to work fairly smoothly and efficiently. Very few traffic lights, almost no stop signs, except if you can see a stop sign if you go into a parking garage. They might have a stop sign in there, but otherwise, and people just they go from one direction for a while. People stick their nose out from the other streets. Those people stop. Very seldom do you hear irate horn honking. You hear a lot of horn honking, but not the irate type usually, although I'm hearing more of that type of thing because you've got being under lockdown, various stages of lockdown for 19 months, you have more people stressed out, put it that way. Anyway, I did that last video about travel, and as you all know, visa on arrival is not yet available here, and nobody knows when it will happen. They are talking now about opening up travel lanes, travel bubbles to Japan. They've had meetings with people from Japan, China, and Korea, some of the top 3 countries for visitors here. And I think even Thailand, I've heard they're trying to attract a lot of people from India and Indians from other parts of the world, because there's billions of Indians on the planet. And a big part of the economy there is other Asians. So, us Westerners, although we make up a huge, you take into account all the Western countries, the U.S., Canada, the UK and England, UK, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but anyway, those countries, and we add up to a huge amount combined there also. So and a huge spending potential. So don't forget about us. And back to travel. You basically need a visa, an approved visa, if you're going to try to come to the Philippines at the present time. That could be any number of visas. I've done other videos about those. I've interviewed JR at JRC Visa Consultancy about that. And just a little bit here to show you where I'm at. This is the SM Cebu City Mall. And this is this is a change over the last year or so. We're getting more and more cleaner buses running and replacing a lot of the jeepneys that you'll see down here. They've also replaced a lot of the jeepneys that were spewing out the black smoke. So the air that you see is cleaner than it used to be. You can have pollution that you don't see as well. And all these people are waiting for a particular jeepney or bus going to their particular destination. A lot of times if you ask a Filipino how far it is someplace, they won't tell you how far. They might tell you how long it will take you, but very common, they'll tell you it's 2 rides, it's 1 ride, it's 3 rides to get to where you want to go. And they mean one ride here in a jeepney, maybe another ride in a different jeepney, and a third ride by a whatever, bus or something. So anyway, they got a couple little CRs there, and I think this was a little bit later in the afternoon, so people are starting to head home. Cost of living in the Philippines. Inflation has been going up on like food items. I just read an article today. Expect, I think Mandawi Market administrator said, expect meat prices to go up by 30% over the holidays, because the markets in Manila will pay a higher rate than they're used to paying down here. So the markets that would normally sell here with the higher demand with the holidays, Christmas, and other holidays, they will sell their meat to the highest bidder, which is generally in the Manila area. I buy a lot of imported goods at, for instance, S&R, which is similar to a Costco, a membership store. Metro stores, other stores also carry some of the imported goods, many imported goods. And I've seen my cost of those goods go up, and I know that the cost of shipping containers, the cost of shipping things has gone up substantially because of the disruption of shipping all over the world because of these government-created crises that we have. On the other hand, because millions and millions of expats, of tourists, have left the Philippines, there are tens of thousands of condo units, of housing units, sitting vacant for over a year. So you can, if you look, you can find some pretty good deals on housing, and that will probably more than make up for the extra cost in some of your other items. I am working on a property. As I said, I visited a lot of properties and I watched the property. It's interesting to me. I'm not a real estate agent or broker, but it interests me, and I do videos about it. Inside of a jeepney, watch your head when you're getting in and out. Watch it so you don't step on toes. Anyway, what day is it today? It's probably be next week before I put all that data together. A lot of interesting information, and we'll go into some of that. Anyway, I am walking. I walked past Robinson's Galleria Mall. I walked up to the SM Mall, and now I'm walking back towards the uptown area of Cebu City, which is around Fuente Osmeña Circle. And that condominium right up there, center left now is San Remo, I believe. I've done a video in there as well, if you want to take a look at what they have available. This is primarily pretty much a warehouse district up through here. And I know a few years ago somebody said, well, I know you walk a lot, but so a Filipino said, but never walk down this street. Hello. And I walked this street. They used to have a lot of what you call homeless, I guess, with their little shacks and tents and stuff on the sidewalks, up and down different sides of the street. And a couple of years ago, the city come in and cleaned a lot of that up. They've got a few new buildings down this way. I know there's an auto dealership down here that's new. As far as life in the Philippines, one nice thing, what you read in the papers and what the government edicts are, the government executive orders are about the rules, you'll find they really vary by area. The LGUs, the local government units, can make up their own rules. There were times when they had a lot of quote-unquote enforcers out, city police, the PNP, Philippine National Police, and the different areas enforced. They had checkpoints, so they would stop your car and check. You have a pass. You had to have a quarantine pass, which were sometimes difficult to get. I would tip security, and they usually had one for me out of my condominium. Not always, not always. but you're supposed to carry that, show it to get into a mall. Well, that has lightened up for many, many, many months. No longer do that. They continued having police at the checkpoints, but they really weren't checking anybody. Maybe later at night during curfew hours, and now they've even extended the curfew hours. It used to be face shields. You needed face shields everywhere. They did away with those. Don't need those anymore. You're supposed to wear masks everywhere. Of course, there's the discussion, which I won't get into. There are other discussions on YouTube, and YouTube really doesn't like you discussing certain things like that. So, what's your mask made out of? Is it medical grade? 99% of them aren't, I'm sure. What are you breathing in when you're breathing the plastic, the threads, whatever it is? I learned long time ago to question everything. And in my younger years, I was one that just believed the papers, believed the government. Oh, the government here is to help us, right? But it's important to, especially some things that are so critical to life and freedom, you need to learn to question what you hear from the mainstream media. As far as life here in the Philippines, the Filipino people make the bad parts so much easier to tolerate. Being friendly, of course, it helps if you're friendly first. They don't know if you're where you're from. They don't know what language you speak. They don't know if you're a good guy, a bad guy, an indifferent guy. And if you are friendly first, you break that barrier, that defensive barrier. And I say hello, good morning, good afternoon to many people every day. It affects me and gives me a more positive outlook on life. It affects your mental health and your physical health as well, I think you'll find. And the fact that so many of them are so friendly, they will stop whatever they're doing, most of them, and sit and chat with you. Many speak good English, some understand English, but they're not comfortable speaking English. But there's usually somebody in the area if you need to ask a question. And I've had them look out for me. I've had a few times I've had people tell me, "Sir, it's not safe for you in this area," and they'll walk with me out of an area. And I've had them come ahead, follow me, and make sure I'm going the right direction when I've asked. This is a big shipping area too. There are shipping container yards all over, especially down by the sea. I think it may be the biggest shipping port in the Philippines. There are many shipping ports in the Manila area, but this one shipping port is the biggest by itself, I believe. I think going forward, after when the country does finally open up, I think there will be, especially initially, there will be some restrictions on travel for a couple reasons. Number one, many of the most popular travel destinations, Boracay and some of the islands, even there's an island off of Cebu, forget the name of it right now, they become overcrowded and they get too many people. The island is not really able to handle that many people. So we used to be able to just get on a ferry, get on a plane, go wherever we wanted, anytime we wanted. And in the future, there will be some control to go to some destinations. I'm sure you will have to book ahead so that they can control the number of people going to certain of the very popular destinations. They're also trying to understand and control movement more, I'm sure, like many countries will. They're going to be opening up more and more, even in Cebu, up in northern Cebu. They're looking at opening up additional areas for diving, for instance, diving, snorkeling, various activities, eco farm tours, those types of things. One problem with trying to track everybody all the time is that those systems break down. Those systems stop working because the internet goes down, because of a glitch in the software, something, different reasons. So there needs to be a backup plan. And another thing that's going to happen if they make it very costly, very restrictive, lots of requirements, restrictions. They want to increase their tourism, but you'll find a lot of people saying, "No, I'm not going," just like they already have. Thailand has found this out. They've tried several different special tourist visas trying to attract quality people with money into their country, and they have failed miserably at those attempts. These countries, Thailand is again another good example. They keep setting the opening dates, and I've got a friend that's been stuck there, I think 6 months. He jumped through all the hoops, went to Thailand, so that he could then come to the Philippines, and I think it's been at least 6 months, and now he's going back to the U.S. and just gonna wait until the Philippines finally opens without restrictions, I believe. And then you have the logistics. All the economies, all the transportation, all the hospitality industry shut down almost 2 years ago. You don't just throw a switch one day and everything's back to normal. It takes a long time. Excuse me. It takes, they laid off workers, they early retired lots of people, pilots. You don't just throw the switch one day and all the pilots and planes and stewardesses and hospitality industry is already there for the thousands or millions of people ready to go again. So even if they throw the switch, say we're open, there's going to start with a trickle because they don't really trust the governments at this point in time, and they're going to wait. Most will wait. Anyway, stay safe, safe travels wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time.